So it is Wednesday night, and no real particular topic to explore tonight. Just sort of talk about some of the wines I bought this past weekend, and from Cape May, and just some wines that were enjoyed this weekend. So I'll start with what we bought. Just went to Turdo, and I've said it numerous times, they sold the winery. Well, that sale did not go through, but winery is still for sale. So the family still owns the winery. They're still making the wine. Tasted through the wines. These were the 2021s. Vintage 21. The vintage 2020 was a phenomenal vintage out of New Jersey, out of Finger Lakes as well. And the purchase was a case. I think it was 4 Rosé, 2 Cabernet, and 6 Sangiovese, something like that. So I think it's the first time I feel like it's the first time they've ever made a 100% Cabernet. And I believe that would have been the influence of the original buyer, because Cabernet sells. They have a blend called Persara, and this time around it was Merlot heavy. I swore in the past it was Cab heavy. And I used to wonder, because they had it Cab heavy, a Bordeaux blend. I always thought it was a really great wine, always the second best wine to me. Why then just make 100% Cab? But they probably tried to avoid that just because of people just buying Cab for being a Cab. Their whites were fine. Their rosé was pretty solid, and we did buy some of the rosé. Additionally, they vinified their Pinot Grigio, their Pinot Gris sweet, I guess also based on the buyer that now fell through. I think the winemaker wasn't so happy about that, to make a higher residual sugar Pinot Gris, sort of a medium dry. So it's sort of like dry, off dry, then medium dry. So medium dry, medium sweet, I think it's after that, but medium dry, so it's got residual sugar. You could taste the sweetness, just to allow for those folks that are looking for that type of sweet wine. They don't really sell that much of that. They had a Moscato, I didn't see it. Their port's a port dessert wine. It's not really what you would think of as a quaffable sweet wine, which is what some of the other wineries down there have plenty of, like Willow Creek. I'm not to bash Willow Creek, but I'm going to bash Willow Creek, so I don't really care. So we'll see how long they retain it. When we heard about the sale, they did say that the son was going to continue winemaking. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see who ends up buying the winery and what they end up doing with it. I think whoever buys it is absolutely going to be trying to turn it into a profit machine. At least that's my opinion. Not that it's not profitable now, but owning a winery vineyard is expensive. And then if you kind of sell out to the sangrias and super sweet pancake wines, blueberry, whatever, you're not really making wine, serious wine. But if they're in it for the business of making money, well then how can I blame them? So this is the 21 Sangio. It smells awesome. It tasted awesome. Sometimes at the winery you get a little bit. It was pretty early. My palate wasn't quite ready for a wine tasting. I think that's why the whites I couldn't get a good semblance of the whites. They have a Grillo, which is a Sicilian wine. They had a Pinot Grigio. They had an Albarino. We didn't try the Pinot Gris, so sweet. And I feel like there was another white in there. Oh, Sauvignon Blanc. I felt like I couldn't distinguish until I got to the reds. I guess my palate wasn't quite ready yet. So there's that black cherry in here. There's a cedar. There's a bit of a leather. There's a lot of things that Sangiovese brings. Black cherry. There's always a sweet basil thing to me. Yeah, it's good. That's good. It's just a good wine. And it's got, there's a little smokiness on the back palate there. Just a touch. I don't like smoky spirits like a mezcal, and I love tequila, but I do not like mezcal. It's smoky. And I don't like smoky spirits. I don't like smoky cocktails, and I definitely don't like too much smoke in my wine. But this just had a little bit. I do like smoking meats, so there's an irony there, but I really don't want it in my liquids. But that just had a hint on the tail end. Yeah, it's like this minerally, smoky, flinty thing. That's odd. Or not odd, but interesting. Interesting. Great wine, though. Is it as good as the 20? Maybe a notch lower, but not by much. Better than the 19? Yes. Better than the 18? I don't know. I think 18, out of the last 4 vintages that I remember, I think the 18 was sort of my favorite, and I don't know if that was a great vintage in southern New Jersey, Cape May County. So, but this wine's awesome. $41 now, unfortunately. So now you're butting up against do I spend an extra 10, 20 bucks and buy a Brunello? 2019 wines out of Tuscany, Brunellos are getting rave reviews. So if you want some great wine that goes good with food, I consider it the best overall food wine. Brunello di Montalcino, 100% Sangiovese Grasso, and they're fantastic, and they can be aged. 2019, certainly a vintage to buy. I probably will be buying some for the 2016. I went out and did buy a bunch. I think I drank them all. They were so good. But the 2019s, I haven't bought any yet. So here's their Cabernet. And like I mentioned, I don't ever remember a Cabernet, 100% Cabernet. And this might not be 100%. It could be that it's, do they say estate on here? And I'm not sure if the rules of New Jersey. Let's say this is 75% cab at minimum. So, because that is the rule. I'm going to Corvin this one also. This also was about 40, pretty sure it was $40. I really thought this wine was good. I was gonna, the Prosaro was sort of always on the fence, and then I tried this cab. It not to be, the Napa Sonoma cab scene is got an unctuous, higher alcohol, sometimes the delicious factor, or at least the ones that I typically like will have a delicious factor for sure. You kind of pay for it. The prices have even gone up even out of the 50s, 60s now. Like some of the wines I really liked are now 70, 80. Really starting to inch up. We've been hearing that tastings out in Napa have really not just inched up, leaped up to some really high amounts of money to go do a tasting at some of these wineries. Never been out there yet. Afraid I'll never come back. But it seems like a cop-out. Went out there to buy Cabernet. But it was what it was. And it is a restrained style. I think if I'm reading this correctly, it's 12.5%. Could be 13. Can't really see it. Now, I'm not going to bother with checking it. But definitely had more of a restrained style, but we still very much had the black currant, black cassis. Yeah, it's there. It doesn't smell like a giant fruit bomb. It had an elegance to it, but also had some viscosity to it at the winery. Let's see. I wonder what the Sangio percentage is. I don't know if I could read this one either. Yeah, I don't know. Could pause it and check. So both of these wines I just checked, 12.5%. That is a restrained level of alcohol in today's wines. That was actually the norm back in the 80s and 70s and 60s, as the ripeness of the grapes has gone up and the palates of people wanting slightly more full-bodied wines, although it's kind of swinging back down where people want, what they're using the words is fresh and acidic and elegant. Elegant's kind of a crap word, but I kind of use elegant when it's not. It's kind of somewhere in between and has a satiny, silky mouthfeel to me is what I typically will call elegant, but also with a lot of complexity. So a lot of aromas on the palate, a lot of flavors on the palate, a lot of aromas on the nose, and then a lot of flavors on the palate. And that's what I would call elegant. At least that would be my definition. So yeah, this wine smells awesome. You know, cassis, blackcurrant. There's no vegetal, there's no greenness. I don't smell dill. No real herbal. Just did a Corvin, so this is a young 21. This could absolutely use time. That's just a good wine. That's just a really well-made wine. Long length. The black currants there on the palate. There's like a little bit of, there's a blackberry thing. Acidity is there. There is a texture to this. It's not, it's like medium plus bodied. The tannin is not in your face. It's there. It will dry out your gums, but there is acidity. So this thing could go. This thing could last a while. I wouldn't go too long. I hate to put the time frames on these. It's so arbitrary at times. Oh, drink this 10 to 12 years from now. I don't, you know, I don't like to use those types of predictions. Who am I to make that type of prediction? But I think in 5 years this wine could be just as good as it is now, if not better. Beyond that, I don't know. I'd be guessing. But I think because of the tannin and the acid, I think 5 years in a cellar, proper cellar, on its side, be totally fine. Could even get better. I think with decanting, this will get better. This wine's fantastic. This is a great, great wine. And, you know, it's Cabernet. And probably the best Cabernet I've had in New Jersey since having Heritage's BDX, which is a Bordeaux blend. It was a cab heavy Bordeaux blend, but not at the level that this is probably minimum of 75%, if not higher. I don't know the percentage. Nothing on the back states how much Cabernet is in this. Would I be shocked if there was another grape? No, I would not be shocked if there's some Merlot in here. Is it huge, monster, unctuous? No, but it has a delicious factor. It does have body. It has length. It has acidity. It has numerous aromas, numerous flavors. It's a good wine. That's it, bottom line. So, maybe a little too much about Turdo there, but two great wines, without a doubt. Two great reds, which is probably what you do not expect out of New Jersey. But down there, I guess they get the right climate, the proper ripeness to the grapes, and then the winemaking is fantastic. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about the family that's been running this winery for a really long time. I think about a quarter century now. So what wines do you bring down? Oh, all BYOs, 3 nights in a row. Bring a white, bring a red. The whites were, well, I'll just start backwards. So the last night was a 2012 Pinot Noir Reserve from Damiani. Fantastic. We tried it at the winery. It was great. Just as good with dinner. 2014 Riesling out of Silver Thread. So did a Finger Lakes last night wine. Both were awesome. The Pinot Noir was phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. Just so amazing. And this is where I just did a video a little bit about, you know, Merlot, so I always had it wrong, but they just had it wrong, and Merlot is so bad. Well, maybe back then it was, but it's gone. There are great Merlots. The one I had is the best Merlot I've ever had, and a really wonderful wine, an amazing wine. And then, but Pinot Noir is amazing. You get the right producer, right region, right place, right winemaker, and Pinot Noir is amazing. And I'm down near shore. I'm probably going to get seafood most of the nights. I did. So I didn't know what I would get, but I wasn't going to bring a Cabernet or a Sangio. I was thinking Pinot Noir would go with a variety of type of cuisines, and that's what I went with. Plus the white wine was always there to supplement salad course, oyster course, whatever it was before the main course, which was typically for me a seafood dish. The night before, both of the nights prior to that, I brought Burgundy. One was a Volnay, it was fantastic, and the other one was from Morange, south of the Côte de Beaune, a region I don't think I've ever had Pinot Noir from or Burgundy from. Both of these Burgundies were fantastic. So here is to say that Burgundy does make amazing Pinot. You spend a few bucks, these were anywhere from $60 to $70, not cheap, but Premier Cru, these Burgundies were unbelievably good. Just really great and paired wonderfully with food. Had Sandy, Sanford and Benedict Chardonnay 2018. Think that wine needed more time. It was good. It is what it's trying to be. It's trying to be a Burgundian Chardonnay. I feel like it was a little bit lighter than I expected. Maybe not enough texture. Still enjoyed it. Went well with the food. I think it needed to age a little bit longer for my tastes. And I'm blanking on whatever the other. I brought a German Großgewachs 2017. I don't remember the label or the bottle. I have to check my Vivino. 2017 Großgewachs Senior. So that's basically single vineyard, high quality, dry German Riesling, and it was fantastic. That wine was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Had a little bit of petrol. Started, you could tell it was developing, but early stages of developing, where the Chardonnay didn't even feel like it was developing at all, and the 2014 Riesling was absolutely developing, could gone longer and get to that fully developed, but all great. 6 great wines. Bottom line is 6 great wines, 3 Pinots, 2 Rieslings, and a Chardonnay. And yes, Burgundy is the home of Pinot Noir, and some of the greats, some of the best are probably there, but I've had some great ones out of California now, out of the Finger Lakes, out of Burgundy, of course, and there's other places in the world, tons of places, people making Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is made all over the place because of, well, possibly the sideways effect, possibly just because Pinot Noir is just a raging hot grape. So that was the update. So wines drank, all fantastic. Wines bought, pretty happy with these. Wish they were a little cheaper, but they are fantastic. All the wine clubs I'm in at the Finger Lakes now are coming up. So Silver Thread and Sheldrake, I'm sure Damiani are all going to be asking for allocations. Carlisle came to me. I passed on Carlisle. I know they got those century-old vines, Zinfandels, and I do like them. But because I'm kind of committed to all these other places, I haven't been buying my allocation of Carlisle's wines. I got my Obsidian allocation, so I have to get 12 of those, but I will get a few wines in there. This time I went all red. They do have a lot of aged Chardonnay that I do love, but I'm really low on those, that mid-range cab level, and their Obsidian Volcanic, I know they renamed it to Volcanic, is about $34 or something along those lines, and it's fantastic. So I've just predominantly bought those. I think I bought a Slope because it's awesome. They had Suitcase Clones again, which is another Cabernet that's awesome, and those are both in the 50s. I think I might have bought Petit Syrah because I like Petit Syrah, and I think the rest I just went with the Volcanic Estate. Next time around, I may ask again what they have in their library to see if there's some older Chardonnay I want to purchase, because I can never have enough aged white. So with that, probably gonna pour a little more of this cab, have it a little bit with some cheese now, see how it pairs with that. I think it's gonna go wonderfully. So that's it. Have a good night.